The CEO's eyes widened as she watched the exhausted man in the worn uniform cradle his sleeping daughter against his shoulder. "I made a mistake calling you here tonight," she said quietly, "but it might be the best mistake I've ever made." What happened next would change both their lives forever, in ways neither could have imagined when the phone rang at 2 a.m. If you're enjoying this incredible true story of fate, second chances, and the unexpected connections that change our lives, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that remind us of the extraordinary moments hiding in ordinary lives. Marcus Jenkins jolted awake to the harsh buzz of his phone vibrating against the nightstand. The glowing numbers on his alarm clock read 2:17 a.m. His heart immediately raced. Late-night calls were never good news. "Hello?" he answered, voice thick with sleep. "Jenkins, we need you at the Westfield site immediately. The security system's down, and we've got a situation developing." The voice was authoritative, unfamiliar, and distinctly female. Marcus rubbed his eyes, confusion clouding his thoughts. "Westfield? I think you have the wrong. No time to argue. This is an emergency. I need my head of security there now. The address is 1580 Westfield Avenue. Code to the gate is 5293. 20 minutes. The call ended abruptly. Marcus stared at his phone. Wrong number, obviously. He wasn't anyone's head of security, he was a janitor at Mercy Hospital, working the evening shift to support himself and his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. He should just go back to sleep. Tomorrow, no, today, was his only day off this week, and Lily would be up at dawn, eager for their promised trip to the park. He was about to set the phone down when a thought stopped him. What if this really was an emergency? What if someone was in trouble? The caller had sounded genuinely distressed. Marcus glanced toward Lily's room. He couldn't leave her alone, but Mrs. Abernathy next door had long ago stopped answering her door after midnight. Too many false alarms, she'd said. He had no one else to call. With a sigh, Marcus made a decision. He'd take Lily with him, explain the mix-up to whoever was at this Westfield place, and come straight back home. 20 minutes there and back, and they could both still get a decent night's sleep. "Lily-bug," he whispered, gently shaking his daughter's shoulder. "We need to go for a quick drive, sweetheart." Lily mumbled something incoherent but allowed herself to be wrapped in her favorite blanket and carried to the car. Within minutes, they were driving through the deserted streets of the city, guided by the GPS on Marcus's phone. The address led them to an imposing glass building in the business district, the headquarters of Westfield Technologies according to the sleek sign out front. Marcus punched in the gate code, surprised when it actually worked. The security booth was empty, which struck him as odd given the supposed emergency. With Lily still asleep in his arms, Marcus approached the main entrance. The doors slid open automatically, revealing a pristine lobby bathed in soft light. A woman in a structured red blouse and black blazer paced near the reception desk, phone pressed to her ear. When she spotted Marcus, she ended her call immediately. "Jenkins, finally. What took you so?" The woman stopped mid-sentence, her expression shifting from relief to confusion. "You're not Jenkins." "No, ma'am. My name is Marcus Reeves. I think there's been a mistake. I received a call about an emergency at this address, but I don't work here." The woman, tall, with shoulder-length dark hair and the confident bearing of someone used to being in charge, stared at Marcus, then at the sleeping child in his arms. "I'm Alexandra Westfield," she said after a moment. "CEO of Westfield Technologies. And you're right, there's been a mistake. I was trying to reach my head of security, Thomas Jenkins." Marcus nodded, adjusting Lily's weight in his arms. "I figured as much. I'm sorry for the confusion. We'll get out of your way." As he turned to leave, Lily stirred, her eyes fluttering open. "Daddy? Where are we?" "Just a quick stop, baby. We're heading home now." Alexandra Westfield watched the interaction, something unreadable crossing her face. "Wait," she called. "You drove all the way here at 2 in the morning because you thought someone needed help?" Marcus shrugged, embarrassed. It sounded urgent. I couldn't just ignore it if someone was in trouble. Alexandra's expression softened. That's uncommon integrity these days. She glanced around the empty lobby. The truth is, there is an emergency, but not the kind I implied. Our system detected a breach in our server room. Nothing was stolen, but someone definitely tried to access our prototype files. Jenkins isn't answering his phone, and the police said unless there's actual theft, they can't send anyone until morning. "I'm sorry to hear that," Marcus said sincerely. "But I should really get my daughter back home." "Of course," Alexandra nodded, then hesitated. "Actually, would you mind waiting just a moment? The security cameras caught something, but I can't access the footage without Jenkins' clearance." "You wouldn't happen to know anything about security systems, would you?" Marcus almost laughed. "No, ma'am. I'm a janitor at Mercy Hospital." Instead of dismissing him, Alexandra looked intrigued. "A janitor? So you have access to secure areas, understand protocols, observe without being noticed?" "I suppose so, yes." Alexandra gestured to a small seating area. "Would you mind sitting with me for just 5 minutes? I have an idea." Against his better judgment, Marcus followed Alexandra to the plush chairs. Lily, now fully awake, looked around with wide-eyed curiosity. "Is this where you work, miss?" she asked Alexandra. Alexandra smiled, the first genuine smile Marcus had seen from her. "Yes, it is. My father built this company, and someday, I'll pass it on to my daughter." A shadow crossed her face. "If I still have a company by then." "What do you mean?" Marcus asked, his curiosity piqued despite himself. Alexandra sighed, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "We're developing a new medical technology, a portable dialysis device that could revolutionize treatment for kidney patients. But someone's been trying to steal our research. Tonight's breach was the 3rd attempt this month." Marcus thought of the kidney patients he saw at the hospital, the hours they spent tethered to machines, the toll it took on their bodies and spirits. "That would change a lot of lives," he said quietly. "Exactly. But I'm starting to think the threat is internal. Someone with access, someone who knows our systems." Alexandra leaned forward. "I need fresh eyes. Someone observant, honest, who understands both security and medical environments." Marcus realized where this was going. "Ms. Westfield, I'm just a janitor. A janitor who drove across town at 2 a.m. because a stranger might have needed help. A single father who brought his daughter rather than ignore a potential emergency." Alexandra's gaze was intense. "I need someone like you on my team, Mr. Reeves." "Daddy's the best at finding things," Lily piped up, her small hand patting Marcus's arm. "He always knows when something's not where it's supposed to be." Alexandra smiled at her. "I bet he does." She turned back to Marcus. "I'm offering you a job, Mr. Reeves. As a security consultant. Double whatever you're making now, plus benefits. All I ask is that you observe, report anything unusual, and help us identify who's trying to sabotage our project." Marcus stared at her in disbelief. "You can't be serious. You don't know anything about me." "I know enough," Alexandra said firmly. "Sometimes the best decisions are made on instinct. Mine is telling me you're exactly what Westfield Technologies needs right now." Lily tugged on Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, can we go home now? I'm sleepy." The question snapped Marcus back to reality. "Yes, sweetheart, we're going." He stood, adjusting Lily in his arms. "Ms. Westfield, I appreciate the offer, but this is crazy. You should hire a professional." Alexandra stood as well, reaching into her pocket for a business card. "Take this. Think about it. Come back tomorrow, well, later today, and we'll talk details. When Marcus hesitated, Alexandra added, just a conversation. That's all I'm asking. Marcus accepted the card, tucking it into his pocket. I'll think about it, he conceded, though he was already certain he'd decline. Jobs weren't offered this way, especially not to people like him. As they walked toward the exit, Lily's sleepy voice carried through the quiet lobby. Daddy, that lady looks sad, like you did after Mommy went to heaven. Marcus froze, embarrassment washing over him. Alexandra had also stopped, her expression unreadable. I'm sorry, Marcus began, but Alexandra waved him off. Children see what adults miss, she said softly. My husband left last year. Took our daughter with him to Europe. Said I cared more about the company than them. She shook her head. Maybe he was right. The confession hung in the air between them, unexpected and raw. Marcus recognized the pain in her eyes, the same pain he'd carried since losing his wife to cancer 3 years ago. It gets easier, Marcus offered, the words inadequate but sincere. Not better, but easier. Alexandra nodded, a silent understanding passing between them. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Just a conversation. Just a conversation, Marcus agreed, surprising himself. As they drove home through the quiet streets, Lily already asleep again in her car seat, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Alexandra Westfield's offer. It was absurd, impulsive, probably illegal in terms of proper hiring practices. And yet. The next day, after their trip to the park, Marcus found himself driving back to Westfield Technologies, Lily chattering excitedly beside him about the pretty lady in the glass castle they were visiting. Alexandra was waiting for them in the lobby, looking more composed than she had in the early morning hours but no less intense. Today she wore a fitted burgundy dress with a black blazer, her dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail. She greeted Lily warmly, offering her a tablet loaded with games before leading Marcus to her office. Before you say anything, Alexandra began once they were seated, I want you to know I'm completely serious about this offer. I've had my HR director draw up a proper contract. She slid a folder across the desk. The salary is generous, the hours flexible, and there's a childcare allowance included. Marcus opened the folder, his eyes widening at the figure on the first page. It was more than triple what he made at the hospital. This is... I don't know what to say. Say yes, Alexandra replied simply. I need someone who sees things others miss, someone with integrity. Last night proved you have both qualities. I don't have any experience in corporate security. That's precisely why you're perfect for this. Whoever's targeting us knows our systems, our protocols. They're anticipating our standard security measures. We need someone who thinks differently. Marcus closed the folder, still hesitant. And if I can't help you find your security leak? Alexandra shrugged. Then we've lost nothing. You'll still have contributed a valuable outside perspective. She leaned forward. Marcus, sometimes life presents unexpected opportunities. 3 years ago, I ignored one because it seemed too risky. I've regretted it ever since. The words hit close to home. Marcus had been playing it safe since losing his wife, focusing solely on providing stability for Lily. But stability without growth was just stagnation, wasn't it? I'd need to give notice at the hospital, he said slowly. Alexandra's face broke into a genuine smile. 2 weeks is standard. You can start here part-time until then. And just like that, Marcus Reeves, janitor, widower, single father, became a security consultant for one of the city's most innovative technology companies. The transition wasn't smooth. Many of Westfield's employees viewed Marcus with suspicion or disdain, particularly Thomas Jenkins, who had finally surfaced the morning after the breach with a flimsy excuse about his phone being off. Jenkins made it clear he considered Marcus an interloper, someone who had no business in their world. But Marcus had spent years being invisible, watching people when they thought no one was looking. He noticed things: the research assistant who always worked late but produced little actual work, the IT specialist who seemed overly interested in the comings and goings of the research team, the cleaning crew supervisor who had access to every room but whose background check seemed suspiciously perfect. He documented everything, no matter how insignificant it seemed. Alexandra reviewed his observations daily, often staying late to discuss Marcus's findings. Those conversations frequently extended beyond work, evolving into discussions about parenthood, loss, and rebuilding a life that had been shattered. Lily asked about her mother again today, Marcus confided one evening, 3 weeks into his new role. She's starting to forget the little things, the sound of her laugh, the way she'd sing off-key while making breakfast. Alexandra nodded, understanding in her eyes. That's what scares me most about being separated from my daughter. By the time I see her again, she'll have new memories I wasn't part of. You could go to her, Marcus suggested. The company would survive a week without you. Alexandra's laugh was hollow. Would it? With everything that's happening? She shook her head. Besides, David has made it clear he doesn't want me there. Says I'll just disrupt the new life they're building. Kids need their mothers, Marcus said quietly. No matter what. The conversation stayed with Alexandra. The next day, she announced she'd be taking a long weekend to fly to London, where her ex-husband and daughter were living. The news spread quickly through the company, creating a buzz of speculation and, Marcus noticed, anxiety in certain quarters. Watch closely while I'm gone, Alexandra instructed before leaving. People get careless when they think no one's paying attention. Alexandra was right. With the CEO away, the atmosphere at Westfield Technologies subtly shifted. Jenkins became more visible, conducting random security checks that seemed designed more to assert his authority than address any actual concerns. The research assistant Marcus had flagged began taking long lunches with someone from a competing firm. And the IT specialist, Derek Mercer, started accessing the server room at odd hours. It was Mercer's behavior that concerned Marcus most. On the second night of Alexandra's absence, Marcus stayed late, ostensibly to complete some paperwork. In reality, he was watching Mercer, who had told everyone he needed to run system updates over the weekend. Around midnight, with the building nearly empty, Marcus observed Mercer entering the server room with a small device that definitely wasn't standard company equipment. Moving silently, a skill honed during years of cleaning hospital rooms while patients slept, Marcus positioned himself outside the server room, listening through the door. The sounds were faint but unmistakable. Mercer was copying files. Marcus had seen enough. He called Jenkins, who arrived 20 minutes later with 2 security guards. They caught Mercer red-handed, downloading proprietary research onto an external drive. When Alexandra returned on Monday, she found her company in turmoil. Mercer had been arrested, but not before revealing he'd been working for a competitor for months, gradually stealing research data. Jenkins was facing an internal investigation for negligence, or worse, complicity. And at the center of it all was Marcus, the janitor-turned-consultant who had uncovered the plot. You saved us, Alexandra told him privately, after the police had taken their statements. If that prototype had been fully compromised, we'd have lost years of work and millions in potential revenue. Marcus shrugged, uncomfortable with the praise. I just noticed what was out of place. It's what I've always done. It's more than that, Alexandra insisted. You saw what everyone else missed because you weren't blinded by assumptions or office politics. She paused, considering her next words carefully. I want to offer you a permanent position. Head of Security Operations. Marcus stared at her. You can't be serious. Completely serious. Jenkins is finished here, regardless of whether he was involved with Mercer. We need someone with integrity, someone who understands that security isn't just about systems and protocols, it's about people. I don't have the qualifications. You have exactly the qualifications that matter, Alexandra interrupted. The rest can be learned. I'll provide whatever training you need. Marcus thought about it. The job would mean stability for him and Lily, opportunities they'd never had before. But it would also mean stepping completely out of his comfort zone, taking on responsibilities he'd never imagined for himself. I need to think about it, he said finally. This affects Lily too. Alexandra nodded, understanding. Take all the time you need. The offer stands. That evening, as Marcus tucked Lily into bed, she asked a question that caught him off guard. Daddy, are we going to be rich now? Marcus smiled, smoothing her hair. No, sweetheart. But we might have a